The Tempe Healing Field pays tribute to those lost in the September 11th terrorist attacks each year. For the 20th anniversary of 9/11, the memorial is just as powerful. Coming up, we'll cover what to expect for this year's tribute.
Plus, Arizona Governor Doug Ducey and other Arizona leaders react to President Biden's vaccine mandate. We'll take a look at what the governor and others have to say about mandatory vaccines.
And later on Break It Down, a look back on 9/11 and the impact it's had on our country years later.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Lauren Quinlan.
And I'm Rob Winder. Thank you for joining us.
President Joe Biden announced a number of new vaccination requirements on Thursday. This includes mandatory vaccines for all federal employees and contractors, as well as a requirement that employers with more than 100 workers ensure either a COVID vaccine or weekly virus testing for employees. Now, Governor Doug Ducey is speaking out against the president's vaccine mandate. Ducey released a number of tweets, including one calling the president's executive order un-American and saying we must and will push back. Other Republican officials, including Arizona Senator Kelly Townsend, joined the governor in defiance of the mandate, saying the vaccine should be a choice. While Biden received pushback from some Republicans, many Arizona Democrats are applauding the initiative. Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego called the mandate a critical action we need to appropriately fight the virus, emphasizing this requirement could save lives.
And while COVID-19 vaccines may be dividing the country, the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks is bringing many communities together. Tomorrow, it will be 20 years since hijacked planes crashed into the Pentagon, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and the Twin Towers in New York City. Nearly 3,000 people were killed that day. 2,600 of those were in the Twin Towers, where a memorial now stands. In honor of the anniversary, EarthCam shared this time-lapse video. The footage starts with a shot of the still-standing Twin Towers and pictures of some of the victims killed after the buildings collapsed. Then comes 20 years worth of images that document the progress made to rebuild the 16-acre site.
On the 20th anniversary of 9/11, the Healing Field at Tempe Beach Park continues to honor those who lost their lives. Megan Newsham talked to the people responsible for bringing the memorial to the community every year.
Nearly 3,000 flags. A powerful visual reminder of the loss on 9/11.
I want people to be able to reflect on how it feels to them, and that's different for every person.
Hundreds of volunteers came out at 6 a.m. to set up the flags. Volunteers, whether this is their first year or 15th, say there is something really special about this field.
We're all hanging up the placards and get a little glimpse into people's lives, and then you see these stories, and I'm reading, people that were my age then or my age now, and it's just, they're gone. They've been gone for 20 years because of it, so pretty wild.
Flags with a yellow ribbon represent first responders who lost their life that day.
So each one of those tags is a person that we lost on September 11th. And we surround them by these flags of first responders. So it kind of is a representation of they came in to help them, right? That gets me every time.
And volunteers say the sense of community that comes from events like this breaks down divisions between people and brings them together to honor the lives lost on 9/11.
Across the country or across the world, it was such a significant event. Everybody comes together on it.
In Phoenix, Megan Newsham, Cronkite News.
The Healing Fields is open to the public through Sunday. There will be events throughout the weekend, including a calling of the names, a candlelight vigil, and a 5K run.
All week, we have been reflecting back on the events of 9/11 and the lasting impact it's had on members of our community. Amna Sabam joins us in studio now to tell us how this day heavily affected members of the Muslim American community.
In the 20 years since 9/11, the outlook of Muslim Americans took a dark turn. Islamophobia increased, which led to a rise in hate crimes and racial profiling.
the amount of confrontations that people would have with anyone who looked Muslim, or the amount of violence that you heard about against anyone who was mistaken for a Muslim was quite intense. And it's something that we kind of would be exposed to almost on a daily basis.
The Tempe Islamic Center knows that all too well, as 3 years ago, 2 women made national headlines after targeting the mosque.
It's gotten to a point where Muslims aren't surprised anymore. I guess it's just like, oh, dang it. Like it happened. Like we have like this inevitability in our mind that this is going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Omar Tawil says he gets detained and questioned at the airport for hours. For Osama Shami, his son was assigned to the no-fly list almost 10 years later.
How do I explain to my 10-year-old why he cannot board a plane? As a parent, what do you say?
Shami has seen the worst, from being targeted by the FBI to protests, marches, and gunshots aimed at the mosque. But he worries most about the Muslim youth.
This generation, even though this is the only country they know, they feel that they don't belong.
They see it. And I think it definitely becomes kind of an anxiety. But at the same time, we all cope with it together.
Muslim youth weren't alive on that fateful day, but Tawil and Shami say 2 decades later, they will continue to feel the effects of those planes that not only killed so many, but also wounded the Islamic faith. In the newsroom, Amna Sapan, Cronkite News.
9/11 has also become a holiday called Patriot Day. Many people use the opportunity to give back. Cronkite News reporter ALYSSA Stoney talked to local organizations about what they're doing in honor of those who lost their lives that day.
As the 20th anniversary of 9/11 approaches, community members are trying to find ways to honor those who lost their lives by giving back to the community. I talked with 2 Valley organizations hosting events on Saturday in memory of 9/11.
20 years ago, the country faced a tragedy that will always be remembered. But after that day, the country came together as one. Despite their differences, to remember and honor those who lost their lives.
And I think the family members of people who died on that day just wanted to find a way to kind of capture that spirit of unity and compassion.
9/11 Day was nationally founded in 2002 and brought to Phoenix in 2018 as a food packing event.
We really do believe that service is the best way to honor what happened who we lost on September 11th.
The organization aims to pack 200,000 meals to be donated to St. Mary's Food Bank and United Food Bank.
That brings together people from different backgrounds who have different perspectives and helps us all focus on a common goal.
Another organization in the Valley is helping community members give back on 9/11 by hosting an event where they can donate these guys to the Trauma Teddy program.
They use the teddy bears as a tool to connect with them, and if the child's hurt, to help them settle their anxieties. It calms their blood pressure down some.
This year, the celebration of National Teddy Bear Day falls on 9/11. Valerie Berner, founder of the Glendale event, says some of the first responders who volunteer at the event were personally impacted by the attacks.
We actually do have some that were there and went back to help, but to connect with that and to reconnect with those people in a way that is warm and loving.
First responders bring the gifted teddy bears to scenes where children are involved in a crisis as a sense of comfort and safety.
Giving people an opportunity to do something for someone else, it's always a good thing.
Both groups encourage Valley residents to focus on an issue that is important to them and give back in honor of those who can't. They hope these simple acts of kindness can bring the nation together once again in a time of need.
9/11 Day in Phoenix will be at the Phoenix Convention Center from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Teddy Bear Day in Glendale will be in the historic downtown Glendale district from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. In the studio, ALYSSA Stoney, Cronkite News.
When we come back, we continue our 9/11 coverage to honor those whose lives were lost or affected by the infamous day. ASU head football coach Herm Edwards reflects on the aftermath of the Twin Towers collapsing.
I had swore I was not going to watch the Vietnam War because I could remember the day I watched us finally get the helicopters out thinking, okay, it's over, and then went to my college class. Next thing I know, I'm watching Ken Burns' Vietnam. And the thing that caught me so much was how he was talking to the winners, and this North Vietnamese general said, there's no winners in a war. That just stopped me dead in my tracks.
For more information about including Arizona PBS in your future plans, visit azpbs.org/giving.
Cronkite News is more than your local news station. Through our innovative ideas, we create new ways to connect with our viewers and have their stories be heard. Our cutting-edge technology allows us to take a deeper dive into seeking the truth and delivering new perspectives. Stay up to date on top Arizona stories anytime on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Cronkite News.
Hey, I'm Rick Steves. You know, I don't go anywhere without my passport. And now, thanks to PBS Passport, you can travel with me and watch all 10 seasons of Rick Steves Europe and all my travel specials. This exclusive streaming service is just for our members. Not only can you see all my shows, but you can see thousands of hours of your favorite public television shows. Become a member today and get your passport.
In another of our 9/11 profiles this week, we talked to sports figures who were impacted by that fateful day. ASU coach Herm Edwards was the first-year head coach of the New York Jets at the time. Edwards told Cronkite News reporter Aaron Slindy how that day impacted his outlook on coaching and life.
So what was really maybe the greatest thing I've ever done as a coach is we gathered our players together, and we went on buses. It's about 4 buses, and we went down to the site, and we loaded trucks that were going in bringing water and supplies to all the first responders. And it was amazing when we showed up as a football team. And you looked at that. You looked at the building, it was just down. You know, it was like, oh. And the people, like, they looked at us, we're first responders, and just the smiles that brought to their face that we come down there. And I said, look, you folks are heroes. I said, you're truly the heroes. Well, Vinny Testaverde was one of our quarterbacks. And he brought back a brick from the rubble. And when we got back to practicing the next week, after we postponed for a week, he stood up in the meeting and said, Coach, this is a brick of the rubble. We got to dedicate this season to the people that lost their lives. That event for me, 20 years now, it's vivid. And every time the national anthem is played, I think about it. I can still see what it looked like. The day before, the trade centers, and the day after, I still have that vivid vision of, wow.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.